Hi guys, welcome to FM1 Tuition. Today's discussion is powers and roots. So let's get into it. What is powers? So powers is when you have any number, let's call it x. Imagine that's any number multiplied by itself, times by itself, times by itself. Or let me use a times a times a, etc. So if it was a to the power of 2, it will be the same as a times a. So quite simply put it, 1 squared, that equals what? 1 times 1, that equals 1. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. 3 squared, 3 times 3, 9. Then you go 4 squared, that equals 4 times 4, which is 16. 5 squared, 5 times 5, that equals 25. And I'm sure you guys get the gist. So then you got 6 squared, that equals 36. 7 squared, that equals 49. 8 squared, that equals 64. 9 squared, that equals 81. And finally 100 squared, that equals 10 squared, is 100. So there's a little cheat for you. I'm giving you the answer. Alright, so now let's do cubes. So if you go say any number to the power of 3, that's the same as a times a times a. So let's give you guys an example. You got 1 cubed, that equals 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 cubed, 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2, that equals 8. 3 cubed, that equals 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. Okay, 4 cubed, and by now you should get what I'm trying to do, 64. 5 cubed, equals 125. 6 cubed, that equals, let's say, 216. 7 cubed, that equals 343. 8 cubed, try to remember these numbers because you could be using them quite commonly. 8 cubed is what? 8 times 8, 64 times 8, 512. 9 cubed equals 9 times 9 is 81 times 9 again, 729. And finally 10 cubed. 10 is always the easiest. You just get the number here, which is 3, and put 3 zeros next to the 1 then. So you go 1, 2, 3. Because that's the same as, remember, 10 times 10 times 10. Just add on the 3 zeros. So whichever number you got, so if you have a to the power of 5, times it by 5. A to the power of 9, times it by, not 9, but a times a times a, 9 times. So that's powers. Let's talk about negative as well. If you have a negative number, how would you work out the powers? So say if we had a negative number, so let's start off with say minus 1 squared. That's the same as minus 1 times minus 1. And previously, if you looked at our other videos about multiply negative numbers, we know that minus times minus gives you positive. So that becomes positive. Minus 2 squared is minus 2 times minus 2, which is 4. Not negative, but 4. In your calculator, don't forget to put brackets in. That way the calculator doesn't get confused by which order to do it in. So if I was using a calculator, I'd put minus 2. I'll put brackets in first, then I'll square it. It goes 4. Okay, if you have cubed, same, we get a different pen. So you have minus 1 cubed. That's the same as minus 1 times minus 1 times minus 1. So we get, say we take half of it here, minus 1 times minus 1, which is 1, times minus 1. So now it becomes, so if you got positive and negative, that becomes negative. So you end up with minus 1. Minus, let's jump ahead. Say minus 4 cubed. That equals 4 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, which is, let me get my pen. So minus 4 times minus 4. That should give you minus 64. And so forth. So now we're going to talk about square roots. So square roots, similar to squared. So for example, we have 2 squared. That's the same as 2 times 2, which is 4. Square root simply means the opposite of that. So let's give you guys an example. So if you have, say, square root of 9, so one number times by itself gives 9. And we should know that the answer in this case is 3, because 3 times by itself, 3 gives you 9. So square root simply is the opposite of squared. Same with cube root. If you have cube root, is what number times by itself and then by itself again gives you that number. So again, let's give you an example. Say square root of, say, 20, cube root, sorry, say 27. So one number times by itself, then by itself 3 times over gives you 27. So let's give you an example. You got 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So the answer, sorry, let me get a rubber. So the answer of cube root of 27 is 3. But let's go back to squared anyway for now. Okay. So let's go through the examples. Okay, so what's the square root of 1? Square root of 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 4. So you got 2 times 2 gives you 4. So the square root of it is 2. And so forth. So you got 4 times 4 is 16. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So simply I must say, try to memorize some of the answers to the square roots and cube root, maybe up to 10, maybe further on if you can, up to 15. So it'll be good for you when you answer questions, you can be a bit quick with it. So that's square root and cube root.